Another day and another far-right institution has been embroiled in a massive scandal, and this time it's one of the bigger far-right media outlets, one that has billboards in major cities across the United States. They claim it's the #1 most trusted source.
They'll just straight up send you the newspaper without you even asking for it.
There you go. And whose articles have been shared very frequently by conservative members of our government, and an outlet that, oddly enough, also has direct ties to that weird propaganda dance troupe Shen Yun.
That's right.
It's the Epoch Times, and they are now under investigation from the U.S. Department of Justice after its chief financial officer, Bill Guan, was charged with bank fraud and conspiracy to commit money laundering in what appears to be a massive operation that flowed directly through the media outlet to the tune of tens of millions of dollars acquired through what appears to be the theft of Americans' unemployment benefits. And if you're asking yourself, I wonder if cryptocurrency's involved somehow, you bet your ass it was.
Of course it was. So the Epoch Times, which was born out of and still operates with direct ties to the Falun Gong religious movement, has been around since the early 2000s, but has exploded in popularity in recent years thanks to the rise of more extreme conservatism coinciding with the election of Donald Trump as president in 2016. It found great reach in spreading countless conspiracy theories and alt-right talking points, including the stolen election narrative, anti-vaxxer propaganda, general disinformation, and, of course, numerous conspiracies lifted directly from groups like QAnon. In just the past few years, while nearly every other media company has been hemorrhaging money, the Epoch Times was growing its revenue at a rate that had many people scratching their heads.
Yeah.
Including some pretty unbelievable revenue growth that resulted in a 685% increase in income in 2021 based on tax records. Wow. How did they do that?
Crazy. Kind of suspicious, but I don't know. Maybe just a lot of donations. So people questioned the validity of these numbers well before this recent Justice Department investigation. Now, last October, NBC News ran a story that both demonstrated conservatives' admiration for the outlet while also questioning how exactly it was becoming so financially successful all of a sudden. Today, the Epoch Times is one of the country's most successful and influential conservative news organizations. Funded through aggressive online and real-world marketing campaigns and big-money conservative donors, the Epoch Times now boasts to be the country's 4th largest newspaper by subscriber count. Anti-vaccine activist and presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. called the Epoch Times a daily read among his most trusted news sources. In July, Representative Ralph Norman, a Republican from South Carolina, recited the history of the Epoch Times into the congressional record. "This is all about one word, freedom," Norman said.
What the fuck?
They really hitched their wagon to this, and, I don't think that they'll have any shame about this coming to light, but
No.
they should.
Brendan Steinhauser, a Texas-based Republican strategist, was hired by the Epoch Times in 2018 to open doors to conservative politicians and players. Steinhauser said that a series of interviews and introductions with politicians and media figures at that year's Conservative Political Action Conference offered access to a wider conservative audience. The Epoch Times was a supporting sponsor for this year's conference. As a nonprofit, the Epoch Times is exempt from most federal taxes. Its mission, according to tax filings, is independent journalism, outside of political interests and the pursuit of profit for the public benefit, and to be truly responsible to society. Neither the chairman nor the editor-in-chief of the Epoch Times returned multiple requests for comment. Representatives for the Epoch Times have previously defended it against critical reporting, labeling reports of the paper's conservative mission and its penchant for misinformation smears. Epoch Times representatives also deny any affiliation with Falun Gong, despite the two groups' clear financial and organizational ties. The Epoch Times board members and most staff are Falun Gong practitioners.
And yeah, sorry about all the backstory, but it's important context for the organization and, of course, this latest news. And that report from last year continues, adding, the Epoch Times also employed a tactic more often associated with fake news content farms and scammers than news organizations, creating a network of inspiring and cute content pages and fake accounts to inflate the Epoch Times' reach.
Wait, what?
Yeah, they gotta get those likes on Facebook.
They're just like filling Facebook with spam pages and counting like the fucking boomers who click on that as like Epoch Times readers.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And you can bet your ass that that's happening probably elsewhere with all that AI garbage that's going around on Facebook right now. Did you see the grandma's post?
I don't know
like,
which one.
wish-
I've seen some weird
It's
shit.
like, I think it's triplets or quadruplets. So like, wish these lovely quadruplets a happy birthday on their 90-something birthday. And they're all hugging, and one of them's head is on backwards and has 6 fingers. Insane. But back to this. In 2019, following reporting by NBC News, Facebook found that the Epoch Times had leveraged foreign actors posing as Americans to push political content and banned it from future advertising, citing a violation of policies, including trying to circumvent review systems. The Epoch Times subscription page began hosting glowing testimonials from Steve Bannon, Glenn Beck, and the far-right Arizona Congressman Paul Gosar. The organization became a reliable source for misinformation around COVID, its treatments, and the vaccines. The Epoch Times was also an early and aggressive promoter of election misinformation, according to the Election Integrity Partnership, a coalition of researchers that documented misinformation and the 2020 vote. And look, there's so much more to all of that, and the full article always linked down in the description below. But some of the other income sources appear to be, donations from Christian nationalist groups, conservative figures, and allegedly just scamming the elderly into subscriptions that they can't get out of.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's why you're still getting it. If someone else lived anywhere before you,
Yeah.
that's a lifetime subscription.
I'd like to unsubscribe. No.
It's like moving
don't
into
think so.
Have you ever moved into a building that had a Scientologist in it?
Yeah,
Because
no.
your every mailbox is inundated with Scientology
At some point,
flyers.
the former owner of my home at least dabbled in it because they've only sent me a few things over the years. It's like once a year. They're just like, hey, you still interested? Mm-hmm. And one of them came with a bunch of DVDs that I'm curious to watch. I have them just sitting somewhere waiting for the right opportunity. Mm. But and you give those people your information one time, they will never let you escape. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it looks like those donations and potential scams are not the only reason this otherwise fringe news organization is so financially successful. Because according to the indictment filed by the United States Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York, there was also an absolutely massive amount of money laundering taking place through the org. And they've now indicted the company's chief financial officer for participating in a scheme to launder at least $67 million in fraud proceeds.
Whoo!
It's a lot. Here's a few excerpts from a summary of the indictment from The Guardian. The far-right Epoch Times media company was at the center of a fraudulent money laundering and cryptocurrency scam involving tens of millions of dollars, the Justice Department said on Monday as it announced the indictment of its chief financial officer, Bill Guan. The 61-year-old executive conspired with others to participate in a sprawling transnational scheme to launder at least approximately $67 million of illegally obtained funds, according to a statement from the U.S. Attorney's Office of the Southern District of New York. Proceeds went to the company, it said, and for the personal enrichment of individuals, including Guan, who faces up to 70 years in prison on one count of conspiring to commit money laundering and 2 counts of bank fraud.
61 years old, potentially 70 years in prison. Uh-oh!
We'll have to see how good this Falun Gong stuff is at longevity.
So it continues. Guan is accused of masterminding a scheme in which he managed the media company's Make Money Online team overseas, the Justice Department said. Under Guan's management, members of the team and others used cryptocurrency to knowingly purchase tens of millions of dollars in crime proceeds, including proceeds of fraudulently obtained unemployment insurance benefits that had been loaded onto tens of thousands of prepaid debit cards, the statement said. The proceeds were then allegedly laundered through a certain cryptocurrency platform and turned into digital currency at 70 to 80 cents on the dollar, prosecutors said. Team members then used stolen personal identification information to open accounts and funnel the profits there, and subsequently into accounts held in their own names. So Guan was arrested on Sunday, and we certainly look forward to one of two responses from conservative figures who have gleefully promoted this company in the past. Either complete silence while they just wait for this to go away, never acknowledging it, or that this is yet another attack on conservatives from Biden's DOJ, which is a funny way to refer to a department that is currently prosecuting Biden's son.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it. That's the trick.
Yeah.
He'd sacrifice his own son just to take down America's favorite newspaper.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, over in Trump news.
We do have Trump news.
Obviously, the news of Trump's conviction on 34 felony counts is still major news, and there was no shortage of coverage, interviews, and think pieces surrounding the case and what should happen next. House Speaker Mike Johnson even went so far as to urge the Supreme Court to step in and overturn the verdict.
Okay.
I do believe the Supreme Court should step in. Obviously, this is totally unprecedented, and it's dangerous to our system. I mean, we've all discussed this before, and you all talk about it all the time. This is diminishing the American people's faith in our system of justice itself.
The verdict has also resulted in the apparent doxing of at least some of the jurors on pro-Trump and alt-right message boards. Who could have seen that coming? As well as doxing and intimidation extending to nearly every other person involved in the case, including Judge Merchan and Michael Cohen. Also, Trump himself alluding to a breaking point from his supporters who have already have a very public and notable history of violence at the behest of their glorious leader.
So, yeah, not great.
They swatted the mother of that DC cop, Fanon, who has been very vocal about the January 6th stuff. He commented after the verdict, and within a couple hours, his 90-year-old mom got fucking swatted. So yeah, the best people. But while Trump definitely enjoys playing the strong man for his followers, it does appear as though some cracks are starting to show, including his attempt at rewriting history when it comes to targeting his political opponents with lawfare. Because Trump, with a straight face, claimed during an interview on Fox News that he's never spoken about locking up Hillary Clinton.
Well, I would never say such a thing. Lock her up, that would be ridiculous.
I've never said that phrase in my life.
I don't even know that woman. Here's a clip.
They all said lock her up, and I felt, and I could have done it, but I felt it would have been a terrible thing. And then this happened to me. Hillary Clinton, I didn't say lock her up, but the people would all say lock her up, lock her up. Okay. Then we won. And I said pretty openly, I say, all right, come on, just relax. Let's go. We got to make our country great.
And yeah, obviously, this is outrageous. This is ridiculous. I mean, we all heard him. We all saw him at his rallies. It was a slogan that was used over and over and over ad nauseum. And people were very quick to point this out, alongside video clip compilations of him repeatedly claiming that Hillary should be locked up.
Tell you what, for what she's done, they should lock her up. She's disgraceful. It's disgraceful.
So crooked Hillary, crooked, you should lock her up, I'll tell you.
I'll tell you something, though, and it's fair to lock them up. You should lock them up. Lock up the Bidens. Lock up Hillary.
Okay, here's one. Just came out. Lock her up is right.
Of all the things.
That didn't happen. Deep fakes.
Of all the things to blatantly lie about. I mean, this has to take the cake because it's like Trump claiming that he never uttered the phrase, make America great again.
No, I never said that.
That and lock her up are completely synonymous with the Trump campaign. And it's actually surprising, even for Trump, that he would claim otherwise.
Yeah, this is, come on.
It's outrageous.
We all heard you say it. What are you doing?
I couldn't believe it when I saw this. I was like, no, that has to be. There has to be more context than that, because he wouldn't just say that he never uttered "lock her up." That would be stupid.
But enough about our political insanity. Let's check in on North and South Korea once again, because there's already an update regarding those shit and trash-filled balloons that North Korea has been sending over the border. In case you missed it, please go watch our most recent episode of Weekly Weird News. But basically, North Korea has been sending these shit balloons down south in retaliation for the balloons that have been sent over North Korea for years, which include anti-propaganda pamphlets as well as USB drives with K-pop on and other such media. Apparently, the balloon wars have gotten so bad that peace agreements have officially been suspended. That's what we were saying.
Yeah, you gotta
fucking chill. This is an escalation.
Yeah, could be worse. I mean, the balloon wars, it's kind of silly, but it could be worse. At least it's just balloons.
Here's NPR with more on the latest developments.
South Korea announced Monday it'll suspend a rapprochement deal with North Korea to punish it over its launches of trash-carrying balloons, even after the North said it would halt its balloon campaign. Over several days, North Korea flew hundreds of balloons to drop trash and manure on South Korea in an angry reaction against previous South Korean civilian leafleting campaigns. On Monday, South Korea's Presidential National Security Council said it has decided to suspend a 2018 inter-Korean agreement aimed at easing frontline animosities until mutual trust between the two Koreas is restored, according to the presidential office. The Security Council said that the suspension would allow South Korea to resume military drills near the border with North Korea and take effective, immediate responses to provocations by North Korea. It said a proposal on the suspension would be introduced at the Cabinet Council on Tuesday for approval.
I hate to say this, I am on North Korea's side here. The South started it. Nobody was talking about Korean balloons until these people down there, and they
were doing it for a good reason.
And okay, yes, but they're still literally, if you want to break it down to what it is, sending unwanted fucking garbage into another country. And North Korea sent hundreds of balloons. Like, they've been sending, we covered that interview with one of the guys behind this. He's sending 5,000 balloons at a time. So it's this is all fucking stupid. But I'm
you could see why they would launch such a campaign.
North Korea is kind of in the right here, and it's fucked up for the South to be oh my God, North Korea is sending balloons into our country? Shut up.
Yeah, and the result is if those military drills and stuff keep happening, it's only going to piss North Korea off even further.
This is dumb. We need Trump back in office so he can go back to North Korea. Talk to his good buddy Kim.
He's going to give him a Mickey Mouse balloon, a really friendly American branded balloon. That'll be the gift that brings the two countries together.
Yeah. God,
a heart-shaped balloon. That's what they really need.
This is so dumb.
Why isn't Banksy over there painting the girl with the balloon all over the place? It can really help things.
They did have a couple decent years there where they were at least talking to each other and stuff. This just sucks.
One South Korean guy gets covered in cow shit, and war is back on the table.
And like I said in the other episode, free cow manure.
Hey,
that shit's not cheap.
No.
Anyway, it continues. Observers say South Korea needs the deal's suspension to restart blasting anti-Pyongyang propaganda broadcasts, K-pop songs, and outside news from border loudspeakers. They say such broadcasts have previously stung in the rigidly controlled North, where most of its 26 million people are not allowed official access to foreign news. The 2018 deal has already been in the danger of collapsing. Tension spiked after North Korea's spy satellite launch last November prompted both Koreas to take steps in breach of the accord, South Korea resuming frontline aerial surveillance and North Korea restoring border guard posts. Since last Tuesday, a total of about 1,000 North Korean balloons carrying manure, cigarette butts, scraps of cloth, and waste paper have been discovered in various parts of South Korea. No hazardous substances were found, according to South Korea's military. On Sunday night, Kim Kang-il, a North Korean vice defense minister, said the North would stop its balloon campaign because it left the South Koreans with enough experience of how unpleasant they feel. He said North Korea will fly balloons again if South Korean activists restart their own balloon activities. Like I said, it's tit for tat.
Happen, yeah.
This was a tit for tat, and the South has just decided you just escalated. It's no, they actually didn't.
It is funny to think about this insane regime in North Korea and then being well, how do you like it?
Yeah.
On something as simple as a prank. It's basically a prank. This happened in the brilliant movie Men at Work.
This is
they filled that guy's locker with a balloon filled with crap, and look what that started.
This is someone toilet papers your house, the next night you go toilet paper their house, and they're oh shit,
they burn your house down
this means fucking war.
Yeah.
It's wait, what?
Hold on. They should do in The Simpsons where they put the sign up that says 2 bad neighbors. But it's on their house. They're wait, who's the bad neighbors? Classic episode with George Bush in it. Honestly, these balloons, the balloon wars, let's be honest, they are at least better than the alternative.
I'll take balloons over the other stuff, absolutely.
But it has undoubtedly raised tensions between the two countries.
For the dumbest reason.
This is a prank war that could escalate into a world war.
Yeah, I hope these pranks don't go sexual or go wrong. Or go in the hood.
They better not step on anyone's shoes. What was the one guy's name that used to do that?
Sam Pepper?
No, he kidnapped a guy.
I don't know.
Anyways.
Joey Salads?
Probably. Hey, how was that political run he had?
I feel I checked on Joey Salads 6 months ago because it just randomly popped into my head. I'm what's he up to? It seems like he's not up to anything, which is interesting.
Okay.
So that's almost scarier than, it's
what's he planning?
Because he's up to something, but now we can't see.
Yeah.
Anyway, meanwhile, here in the United States, we embrace the feces.
Yeah.
Yum, yum, yum.
Not like that, Elliot.
So much so that a new museum has opened over in Arizona that specializes in exactly that. Shit. It's called the Poo-seum, and despite the name and the topic, it's actually pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And we're only really talking about it because it's a nice peaceful lead-in from our last story. And there's something specifically American about opening a museum dedicated to shit.
Yeah.
Here's CNN with more on the Poo-seum.
It's also just a good name. If you got a good name for a product or a brand, you gotta lean into it.
They shut down the Newseum several years ago, but hey.
Which was a real shame.
We got the Poo-seum.
One of my favorite museums that I had ever been to.
What should you do when you have the world's largest collection of fossilized poop? Open a Poo-seum, of course. At least that's what George Franson has dubbed his newly opened museum in Williams, Arizona, which offers visitors free access to the approximately 8,000 pieces that make up his coprolite collection, better known as fossilized poop. Initially, many people react with a yuck face or laughter when they first hear about the Poo-seum.
Guilty.
However, after witnessing the collection, their reactions often shift to shock at the diverse and intriguing nature of coprolites. Franson told Guinness World Records, yeah, I'm sure everyone,
Yeah.
Actually, you're right.
I learned a lot today.
Fossilized poop is pretty cool.
Given that most people have little to no experience with coprolites, it's enjoyable to introduce them to this fascinating world and share the wonders they hold. It's written like the promo for that Willy Wonka experience. Come visit the wonders at the Poo-seum. Except here you get exactly what it's advertised.
Yeah.
He initially founded the museum as an online resource center in 2014 and created a traveling fossilized poop exhibition to be displayed in museums across the US when he realized they were often not displayed in mainstream places. The enthusiastic response from visitors to these temporary exhibits highlighted the demand for a dedicated space where coprolites could be prominently showcased and their scientific significance thoroughly explored, Franzen added. There, visitors can view pieces like the largest fossilized poo by a carnivorous animal, which measures 26.6 inches by 6.2 inches and likely came from a Tyrannosaurus rex. Now what's cool, Elliot? Because that sounds pretty cool to me.
That is one big pile of shit.
Yeah. And I'd like to see it. That's many Keurigs worth of shit.
I'm assuming it looks like poop.
Well, more like a rock.
Yes, at this point.
Because it's fossilized. But I will say, one of my core memories as a child was going to, no, it's not that bad, was going to, like one of those hands-on museums that the kids all go to.
Yeah.
And I specifically remember the fossilized poo because they labeled it as shit. And I was so young that I was like, teacher, there's a naughty word. I didn't call the teacher, but I did laugh about it a lot in my head, and I remember it. So it did have an effect on me.
Okay.
Yeah. And that was the day I realized that God wasn't real.
Sounds like you need to get in the car and start heading east. It's a beautiful Arizona.
It is close to the Grand Canyon, which I have never seen in person outside of an airplane.
I have not either.
I've flown over it and looked down because the pilot
It
will
looks
usually say
crazy
something.
from an airplane.
We're so close. We should go see
know.
it sometime.
But speaking of things that are shitty and absolutely not fun at all, data breaches. And one of the country's most hated corporations, they just got hit with one.
Oops.
Unfortunately, aside from making them look even worse, this actually just affects all of their customers in what has become a never-ending cycle of consumer information being stolen and sold on the dark web. We're talking about Ticketmaster.
Yeah.
Which means basically anyone who has purchased tickets to a major event in recent years is probably affected by this because, as we're all aware, they have a near monopoly on like the entire live entertainment industry. You can't see a show without going to Ticketmaster. Seems like yet another good reason to break them up.
Smash.
Also, yes, it's fucked up that hackers keep targeting the consumer, considering we're basically forced to use these products, or in the case of Equifax, literally forced.
Yeah.
You would think that some hackers would want to focus solely on the corporation itself. Ah, well, nevertheless, here's the BBC with the details.
Ticketmaster owner Live Nation confirmed unauthorized activity on its database after a group of hackers said they had stolen the personal details of 560 million customers.
Cool, that's more people than live in the United States of America.
Shiny Hunters, the group claiming responsibility, says the stolen data includes names, addresses, phone numbers, and partial credit card details from Ticketmaster users worldwide. The hacking group is reportedly demanding a $500,000 ransom payment to prevent the data from being sold to other parties. In a filing to the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, Live Nation said that on May 27th, a criminal threat actor offered what it alleged to be company user data for sale via the dark web, and that it was investigating. The number of customers affected by the data breach has not been confirmed by Live Nation. In its filing, Live Nation said it was working to mitigate risk to its customers and that it was notifying users about the unauthorized access to their personal information. And if we know anything about the track record of when this happens, at the very best, we're going to get coupon codes for shows that no one else wants to see. And at the very worst, they're going to be like, we're doing it. We're giving everyone a 1 month trial to what is now a completely useless identity theft service. Enjoy, everyone.
Cool. But yeah, according to initial reports, it appeared to be an attack on the cloud storage service that's used by Ticketmaster called Snowflake.
What a great name.
And that the hackers used stolen credentials to access internal management systems. But a recent joint statement from multiple internet security companies and Snowflake themselves claims that their platform was not at fault. Here's The Verge. A joint statement with CrowdStrike and Mandiant, two third-party security companies investigating the incident, lends additional credibility to the claim. Also, an earlier third-party report saying bad actors generated session tokens and may have compromised hundreds of Snowflake accounts has now been removed. A post from Snowflake says, to date, we do not believe this activity is caused by any vulnerability, misconfiguration, or malicious activity within the Snowflake product. Throughout the course of our ongoing investigation, we have promptly informed a limited number of customers who we believe may have been impacted. The joint statement says the attacks appear to be a targeted campaign focused on accounts without multi-factor authentication.
Oh.
But hey, luckily we can all just use another ticketing service in protest.
That's right.
No, we can't. Ticketmaster controls 80% of the live music market. They own a majority of U.S. venues. That's all we got.
All right.
So that's cool. Thanks.
Yeah.
Great.
Well, finally today, we all owe a very big apology to Corey Harris, the man who inexplicably dialed into a Zoom hearing with his local court while actively driving, while having allegedly a suspended driver's license.
What an idiot.
So despite
Send
the video,
that man to jail. Lock him up.
Despite the video being very funny because of the irony of if it was happening, driving on a suspended license while video calling
What a moron.
into court, his license was not suspended at the time. He was the victim of a clerical error.
I'm just now learning this.
What do you mean the courts are horrifically antiquated in all of their operational systems? And they make mistakes like this all the fucking time.
That would explain how, the sort of flagrant nature
Yeah, the
of
nonchalantness of it all.
And the look of absolute confusion and shock on his face.
Oh my God. Yeah, I mean,
That does, yeah.
he had apparently had his license back for 2 years at this point.
Yeah, well, yeah. That does change things.
Here's Complex with the latest. As reported by WXYZ, Harris, 44, was shocked when he was charged with driving while his license was suspended because a judge ordered that suspension to be lifted in January of 2022. The suspension was in connection to a child support case with Saginaw County Friend of the Court, but for whatever reason, the Michigan Secretary of State's office never received the news that Harris's suspension was to be lifted. Aw, geez. We're potentially going to ruin someone's life again because we made a big oopsie.
Whoops. What was I thinking? I was thinking about getting my wife medical help. That's what I was thinking, Harris said. They were supposed to have been lifted 2 years ago, but they didn't. It's very embarrassing. And with the type of ties that I have with the church and the community, it's very embarrassing. In the now viral court video, Harris is seen attending a hearing for driving with his license suspended in October 2023 while he was actually driving. Michigan Judge Cedric Simpson was surprised when he saw Harris driving because his files showed that he still had a suspended license. Mr. Harris, are you driving? Simpson asked Harris. Actually, I'm pulling into my doctor's office, so just give me 1 second. I'm parking right now, he replied. Harris had his bond revoked and was ordered to turn himself in to the county jail that same day. He's now looking to get to the bottom of why the Secretary of State's office never received confirmation the suspension was rescinded in January 2022. Do we know if he ended up going to jail or like...
I mean, this was all, it seemed like it was resolved somewhat quickly, but I'm sure that it was not fun at all.
It didn't make the news for like almost a full week.
Yeah. So maybe the viral video was it helped this get moved forward. I mean, it's a lot of bad publicity. So I don't know. This just sucks. And like, this is actually pretty low on the scale of horrific things that have happened because of clerical errors with the courts.
Yeah.
So yeah. Apologies to that guy.
Yeah. Whoops.
From the courts.
Yeah, I did nothing wrong. I read the news.
Yeah, and in fact, our reporting probably helped to move this
I did
along.
everything right.
And they indicted me.
I apologize on behalf of the Michigan court system.
That's right.
The corrupt Michigan court system.
Unfair. And just fucking horrible.
And the corrupt local Michigan media who failed to...
do their due diligence.
Yeah.
That's right.
This is on them.
But yeah. Anyways, that's it for this for today's episode. We'll be back with plenty more tech news, including the fact that Musk is just like, hey, we're a porn site now.
Yeah.
Fun stuff. Plus
Cool.
a lot more. We'll have that coming up in a day or two. But in the meantime, make sure you like the video. Make sure you comment on the video. Make sure you're subscribed to our channel. We're about to hit 300,000 subscribers. And Elliot, what are you going to shave? Your beard?
Yeah.
Yeah, your beard. He's going to shave his beard.
Gone.
And his balls. Once Manscaped sponsors the show again.
And I'll film it.
Yeah.
And get our channel shut down.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how we celebrate 300K. No more channel.
That's right.
Suspended for balls.
If you're feeling frisky, like Elliot apparently is, go ahead and hit the thank button or the join button. We really appreciate it, and we love all the comments that we see of people doing that down there. In the meantime, we have a brand new episode of Weekly Weird News, which goes into way more detail about all those poo balloons and plenty of other fun stuff to talk about. And also, if you missed it, just a celebration. A joyous video of when Trump was actually moments after being convicted of 34 felonies. You can feel the joy on that
fun.
video. So check both of those out, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.